Really?
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, A's fans. Let's muster up some enthusiasm. Okay, come on. Let's go. Come on. And, oh, for God's sakes. Hello, A's fans, and welcome to Locked On A's Fan Therapy. This is the podcast where we talk about the A's as they slide and hit rock bottom and grab a shovel and say maybe we can go lower. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. If you don't believe me, why would they give me a lower third that said Sully? I have been a baseball podcaster for well over a decade. This is my sixth season here as a member of the Locked On Podcast Network, and I've been the host of Locked On MLB. And this year I'm doing double duty with Locked On MLB and Locked On A's. Wow, this seemed like a lot of fun a month and a half ago, didn't it? Hey, follow us at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, or whatever the hell it's called now. Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. And hey, who's sponsoring this episode? I'll tell you who. It's Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your purchase. And as always, terms apply. It's now 7 games in a row. And I was really looking forward to doing this show tonight. I was. Why? Because I saw the A's jumped out to a 4-0 lead. And I thought to myself, all right, here we go. And did I mention here we go? 4 runs before the Twins even come to bat. I mean, it's a 6-game losing streak right now. But I'm like, all right, well, there you go. They got mad and jumped right off. Langoliers hit the grand slam to left field off of Woods Richardson. Spence on the mound. I'm thinking this is going to be all right. All right, up 4-0. Maybe it'll be a game where all hell breaks loose. Yep, maybe that's what we're going to have. And what happens? The bats go dead. They go dead, and did I mention that they go dead? They go deader than dead. Byron Buxton, remember him? He got a big triple. Okay, fine. Made it 4-1. Then Max Kepler, remember him? All he does is hit a 3-run freaking home run. The A's go scoreless in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and finally, in the 7th, Brent Rooker, who is right now showing off for other teams at this point. And let's face it, that's what he's doing. He is on the block. I hope if you got your Brent Rooker jersey and you're going to wear it to the final game of the season, the only way Brent Rooker is going to be there that final game of the season if he's actually traded to Texas. There are a bunch of teams in baseball who need a right-handed power hitter. Brent Rooker, while not in anyone's MVP conversation, is a right-handed power hitter who has a shot to make his second All-Star game. I don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. But he is going to be traded. And what did he do? He hit himself a triple. Hey! He got that triple to right center field. And it deflected and turned into a Benny Hill sketch. Next year, A's are up 5-4. Hey! Now all they got to do is get through. They got through the 7th. Look at that. They couldn't put another run on the board other than that. Heaven forbid. Ursag comes out. Lets up a walk. There's an error. Be honest with me, A's fans. I see there are a couple of you on the live chat. Be honest with me. The nanosecond you saw the throw to first base, and you saw that Soderstrom didn't have it in his glove. Now, the error went to Schumann. You're a major league first baseman. You got to catch that ball. But fine, whoever it is, Soderstrom, Schustum, Schumann. I mean, the law firm of Schumann and Soderstrom, doesn't matter. The play was not made. And the second that happened, because the A's had the lead at that point, the second that happened, I knew this game was over. I mean, I'm not trying to make myself oh wow, good job, Nostradamus. But like, I knew that at that point, there's no way. Even though they were winning at the time, the win probability index or whatever it is went to 0. There's no way. There's no scenario where they win that game. And of course, the bases were loaded. Then they panic and they bring in Miller, who let up an inherited run. He inherited 3 runners, and I believe this is his first inherited runner scored. But he got technically a blown save. Now, no runs were charged to him, so he pitched an inning and 2/3. He lowered his ERA to 2.27. We got his second blown save, and they went to extra innings. But bases loaded, walk. They bring him in and said, "Hey, bases loaded, 1 out. Get us out of this." And for the first month and a half, Mason Miller channeled Raleigh Fingers, Rich Gossage, Mariano Rivera, Trevor Hoffman, Bruce Sutter, Dan Quisenberry, Billy Wagner, all the great relievers sort of entered his body and became one with it. It was like Shazam. And at some point, Shazam turns into Billy Batson. We can't expect, one of the great relief pitcher performances I ever see. Brad Lidge. Sometimes you got individual seasons, like Brad Lidge in 2008 with the Phillies, or Koji Uehara with the 2013 Red Sox. And for the first few months of the season, that's what Miller was doing. And he has, he's regressed a tiny bit, where he is now merely an excellent closer, which is all we thought he was. That's more than any one of us could have wondered at the beginning of the year. But you're asking him to come in and get a 5-out save with bases loaded, 1 out. The fact that he only allowed 1 damn run, 1 unearned run that went on Ursag's ledger, is actually not bad. But this is the A's we're talking about. They went to the 10th, and the stupid Manfred runner is on, and they can't bunt him over. They can't they can't get a run in. And lo and behold, up comes Kepler. And Kepler had a day. He went 3 for 4 and drove in 4 of Minnesota's 6 runs. Got the walk-off hit. Twins were wearing those weird uniforms that actually, if the Mariners wore those uniforms, those city uniforms, those would be pretty sweet Mariner uniforms. This is how bad it is. I'm complimenting the Twins uniforms. Correa remains on a roll because he's been playing phenomenal baseball recently, and seeing his numbers skyrocketing. Minnesota wins 6-5. And the A's they've lost a week. They've lost a week of games in a row. But it's not just that they're losing. In some ways, it's nice that they're showing up. It is. If you turn on the game and it's 11-0 in the third, you didn't turn that baby off. But they've lost 7 in a row, and 3 out of their last 4 games have been walk-off losses. And if you go back a little, 4 of their last 6 games have been either walk-off losses or extra inning losses. They've all been games where the victory was there to be had. And this is exhausting right now, because when you go on a tailspin like they have been. Remember they won that game in Tampa? They won a 3-0 game, and things started, they felt good. Life didn't seem bad after that. Well, the A's have won 3 games since then. They've lost 12 of their last 15 games. 12 out of 15 they've lost. And in that group, I'm just going to count. I'm going to baseballreference.com, the single greatest website in the history of planet Earth. They have 15 lost, and they've lost 12 out of the last 15, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them have been walk-off losses. That's almost impossible. I mean, if a couple of those games bounced here or there, this is merely a bad stretch. Instead, this is a colossal season-destroying stretch where they've had a chance to win a bunch of those games. But once again, I go back to May 4th, the game I was at. May 4th, they got to 500. And including today, their record since then is 9-29. They're going to get to 30 losses in this stretch before they get to 10 wins. There's not much more to say. There's really not much more to say. Hey, Gravity Fallout Pine says, I'm all for trading Rooker and Meyer for first-round draft picks. You can't trade for draft picks in baseball. This isn't football. This isn't basketball. You only trade for prospects. And prospects for what? So people in Sacramento can enjoy it for a couple of years, and then who knows where they're going to go? I don't know. I can't get excited about prospects when you're seeing the team leaving. There's a little bit of news on that front. So when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about whether or not we are seeing a propaganda role go on, or whether this is going to be actual news about freaking Las Vegas. Hey, this is the baseball season. We're about 1/3 of the way through, actually more than a third of the way through. But we here at Locked On A's, we pride ourselves. I'll give you the latest news on the A's, whether it's a time where they get to 500 or they go on a massive tailspin like they're in right now. But you know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you and unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Networks USA go to bat for you. I have had several employers over the last bunch of years. Some of them are media companies. Some are creative people who hire me to do this, that, or the other thing. And sometimes they pay in cash, or sometimes they pay in a 1099 where there are no taxes taken out of it. If you don't have someone working with you on that, you could get absolutely hosed come tax time. Could owe a lot of money, or find yourself saying, oh, what do you mean I owe money? What do you mean you're putting a lien on? You didn't pay on this, you didn't pay on that. You need to have professionals. I would be in big trouble if I didn't have professionals looking over my taxes. And some of the best professionals you're going to find at Tax Network USA, because I got over 14 years of experience in A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. That's cumulative. That's not just one dude. Whether you owe taxes or you have complicated matters like I've had with some of my 1099s and cash payments, that some of them require some planning, or you finally hit the big parlay, you need to correctly file that, or correctly say that sentence. What you need to do is call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/locked-on. Once again, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/locked-on. If you forget it, just look here on the YouTubes. That's where you got to take a look. And that is Tax Network USA. Go talk to them. They're there to help you. Hey, where is your hub for sports news, for sports takes, to learn more about what's going on in the world of baseball, to see what's happening? Are the Celtics going to clinch tomorrow or day after tomorrow? Are we going to see the Panthers hold up the cup and finally give Miami a Stanley Cup champion? Get all your stories at Locked On Sports Today. It's a free 24/7 streaming channel program to give you the biggest stories in sports. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channel app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. There's not much more to talk about. I mean, it's a calamity. Hey, Gravity Fallout Pine says, I didn't know about that. Surprised you can't trade for draft picks. So, yeah, I think it's absurd that you can't, especially when you consider that teams, play games with the draft all the time. Like, well, we're not going to draft the best player available because we can save some more money. You should be able to trade draft picks. You should be able to trade anything. You should be able to trade Stomper. But the fact of the matter is, Rooker is gone, and who knows? Maybe Miller will be too. Teams need bullpen help in that, and maybe they will put together a decent team when they get to Las Vegas. I don't know. Neither do you. Now, I've been reading. This is from the Las Vegas Review Journal, so it's not from a Bay Area source. Some people have accused me of only reading Bay Area sources, like ESPN or AP. But Mick Akers from the Las Vegas Review Journal writes about in an article for the Las Vegas Review Journal that was published just yesterday on June 13th, said Las Vegas residents to offer input on A's stadium planning. All right, so what that means is that the A's are hosting an invitation-only focus group with Southern Nevada residents, and that's going to be happening in the next week or so. Whenever I hear it's invitation only, I always get a little bit like, who are you inviting? How did they make the cut and someone else? Is this going to be some for the propaganda machine? The team is, but again, this is according to the article. The stadium is planned to be a $1.5 billion, 33,000 seat ballpark built on the Tropicana site. And the meeting is supposed to, I'm quoting the article here, is a gathering the information to help shape what would be included the ballpark, including the team's relocation to Las Vegas. And it's the A's spokesperson said this. I'm going to quote, because I'm not, whatever is going on, I'm going to try to be as fair as I can. We are excited to engage the local community through focus groups to gather their valuable input as we shape the future of Major League Baseball in Southern Nevada. These sessions will allow us to directly involve residents in redefining plans. But which residents and who are you inviting there? It's funny. If you read in between some of the lines here, it says that the A's and Las Vegas Stadium Authority hammer out a number of agreements. They have to hammer out a number of agreements before work can commence on the project. Plans are to have the Tropicana Resort fully torn down and have the land cleared out by next spring. But there's still the lone renderings we've seen of the ballpark have been bizarrely lacking in detail, and we're still not sure about where's all the money coming from. It's not coming from Fisher. Of this 1.5 billion that they're saying now, it's going to cost more than that, and public money is only at like 300 million, which, by the way, in my humble opinion, is 300 million too much. I mean, if there's so much money going on flowing around in Las Vegas, why isn't this a privately funded stadium? I mean, like the Bellagio and the New York Hotel and the MGM Grand, are those publicly funded? Because they know those will make money. But we will see what happens. This is an invite only. When you have focus groups, but you have certain people who are invite only, I wonder what that does to the data that you're collecting. But we'll see. We will see. I have been very cynical about the move to Las Vegas for good reason. The A's have not been upfront at any point in this, and I still believe that Las Vegas is not a great place to put a Major League Baseball team. I've never backed down from that because I've seen no evidence to the contrary. And we'll see how they react. If people can read the tea leaves about Fisher, Maybe baseball can work in Las Vegas. Maybe I could be wrong, but I don't think the A's will be the team to have it work in Vegas. But I've made that point before, and we'll see what happens. Maybe this will be a great meeting. Maybe it will be a meeting where a lot of things have been cleared up, and you could, and it will all work out. And I'm willing to be open minded enough to say, if that's the case, then I'll give them credit. But at no point, trust has to be earned. And let's just be honest, not a lot of trust has been earned from Fisher and company. So when I hear they're doing a invite only focus group, forgive me if I'm a smidge cynical about the whole thing, but we'll find out soon enough. It is a great time to get tickets for sporting events. Hey, people in Boston, you can use Game Time to see if you can get tickets for Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Folks up in Edmonton hope that there will be a Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals in Miami, because that means they will stay alive tomorrow. That's the best way to get your tickets is through Game Time. Game Time makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. The prices on Game Time actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. So you can imagine, do you think you can get a good deal in Boston? That depends on what you call a good deal. But you got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from the seats, and the lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. Now, when you go there, I don't know about you, but I have specific places I like to sit when I'm at certain sporting events. At a hockey game, I like to kind of sit near the corner, because then you get there's a certain dynamic when you get to see some of the players crash up there. When I'm at a baseball game, I like to sit in the second deck behind home plate, but a little bit up the first base line. I like the view you get there, especially at Oakland and at Oracle Park and at Dodger Stadium. You can do all that with Game Time. You get the all-in prices, no hidden fees there. You get zone deals. If you say, hey, here's where I'd like to sit, and they can find you the best deal within that area. And you get seat views. You get a panoramic view. So you go, oh, that's where we're going to be sitting? Perfect. Or, do you know what? That's not quite right. And you can keep looking around. Hey, take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College or Locked On MLB, either one, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDCOLLEGE or MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. The lowest prices, do you know what they are? They are guaranteed. Hey, how about a quick reminder that Locked On has created the first ever national sports streaming channel and is available on YouTube and now also on the Amazon Fire TV and the free TV channel app. Locked On Sports is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channel app. All right, in our latest edition of I Bet You Forgot They Played on the A's, let's bring up San Jose native and someone who went to San Jose City College. That would be 1981 American League Rookie of the Year, Dave Righetti. Dave Righetti is really remembered as, well, for a couple of things. He was a New York Yankee farmhand, but he was acquired. He was originally a Rangers farmhand, but when Sparky Lyle, who won the Cy Young Award with the 77 World Series champion Yankees, and then wrote a book about the time called The Bronx Zoo, got in the hot seat with George Steinbrenner for said book, Sparky Lyle was sent packing to the Texas Rangers, and the Yankees got Righetti, who was a minor league player in the Rangers organization. He got a cup of coffee with the 79 Yankees, but wound up being a big player during the strike year of 81, where he won 8 games out of 15 starts and won the American League Rookie of the Year. He was a starting pitcher with the Yankees and helped pitch him into the World Series. He wound up winning his lone start in the ALCS with 6 innings of shutout ball against the Oakland A's. He became a solid pitcher and threw a no-hitter against the Boston Red Sox on the 4th of July in 1983. But when Goose Gossage left after the 83 season, manager Yogi Berra had an idea. Why don't we make Dave Righetti the closer? Now, Righetti, who was at the time a 25-year-old starting pitcher who just finished having a season where he threw 217 innings out of the rotation, suddenly was plopped into the bullpen. And I'm sure he had his misgivings about that sudden change of his career, but it worked out. He became an all-star closer. He wound up only starting 13 games for the rest of his career. Now, pardon me, at the time in 1986, he set the record for most saves in a single season, 46. Now, that's not such a huge title, but at the time, remember, he threw 106 innings out of the bullpen. So this was he was pitching, he was getting multiple out saves left and right. And he continued being an all-star closer and eventually found himself, after a free agent defection from the Yankees, found himself with the Giants. But his velocity went down, his effectiveness went down, and after the frustrating 1993 season with San Francisco, he was let go by the Giants, and he went across the bay and joined the A's. And he pitched 7 games with the Oakland A's of 1994. A strange year because the A's still were under La Russa, still had some of their stars from the championship years, like Terry Steinbach, Stan Javier, Ricky Henderson, Mark McGuire, but they also, and Dennis Eckersley and Bob Welch, but they just felt like something was wrong with the team. They were starting to fall apart. And of course, that was the strike year. And Righetti first came into a game. It was the second game of the season, in a game where he was relieving Ron Darling, and got pounded. He let up 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning. In fact, in his 7 games, 5 of his appearances, he was charged with multiple runs. He wound up having 2 outings where he, kept the team scoreless. But he wound up having a blown save against the Blue Jays. And quite frankly, he was bad. He was bad for the A's, and the A's cut him with an ERA of 16.71. Now, he finished the year with the Toronto Blue Jays, and the year was finished because of the strike. And he did come back after the strike, and in 1995, he pitched a handful of games, including 9 games as a starter for the Chicago White Sox. But then that was it. He eventually became a staple on the San Francisco Giants coaching staff, and he wound up with all those great pitchers like Lincecum, like Bumgarner, like Kane, like Brian Wilson. They all worked under Dave Righetti when the Giants finally had won a World Series. And Righetti, who didn't get a World Series ring as a New York Yankee, wound up getting multiple with the Giants and none with the A's, because he pitched 7 games for them. It was pretty bad. And I bet you forgot Dave Righetti pitched for the A's. Hey, Argenis Richard. Hello, Locked On A's. Sully. Hey, how you doing, buddy? All right, well, they play the Twins tomorrow. 7-game losing streak. Is there any end in sight? I don't know. I hope so. Eventually they're gonna win the game. Eventually it's gonna happen. I just can't deal with many more walk-off losses. They're just dumb. But I'm not dumb. I'm here to host this show. So follow us at Locked On A's on Twitter, or whatever it's called now, and on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Lamenting another walk-off loss for the A's, and 7 straight losses, and an absolutely disastrous month and a half. This has been Locked On A's. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.